going on, everyone? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel, and boy, do I choose the absolute craziest days to take off because as you guys can see right here, we have had a massive slide across all markets, not just Bitcoin. You can see all the altcoins are down right now. We also have the S&P losing its 100 daily moving average and pushing down on this 200 daily moving average for traditional stocks. Now, this is a very scary chart. This is definitely not a good thing, and as you can see, it is not just crypto. Everything is getting hit across the board. So in today's video, I want to keep it super short and sweet. And if you do appreciate this type of content, definitely smash the like button because it does help to spread these videos out to other people. Because in today's video, we're going to talk about no BS, what is happening right now. We're not going to take this from a biased approach. We're just going to look at exactly what the charts are telling us, exactly what is happening right now. There's two major events happening right now globally that could be potentially affecting the Bitcoin price as well as the stock price as well. And we can go forward looking at this because the thing is right now is that we do have a lot of institutional interest recently in Bitcoin. We do know that when you get these institutions coming into the space, which is what everybody wanted in 2017, 2018, 2019, well, unfortunately, the fear and greed is the same across the board. And when you're seeing these things happen in the traditional markets and you have these big players from the traditional markets into cryptocurrencies, they are going to take the same approach that they do to any other risk-off assets. But where does that leave us, the average crypto investor? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. So without further ado, if you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. So as you guys can see right here, let's start off with the traditional stocks before we get into Bitcoin, because nevertheless, as I said, we have a lot of institutional money in the space right now. These guys are freaking out. They're panicking over on the traditional stocks. So that is also why we're seeing a trickling effect into Bitcoin. But how bad could it affect the crypto markets, and what are we actually looking for this year? Well, the one thing I want to point out right here is that you can see in the past, whenever we do tend to lose this 200 daily moving average, this is on the S&P, you can see we had a bounce back here in June of 2019. We held above it, and as soon as we fell below it, we did in fact have a massive crash. Now, you can argue that this was the black swan event from COVID. Fair enough. If we actually go back farther and see some situations in which we fell below it as well, you could see that even though we fell back below it in August of 2015, we had a slight rally back above it, but we couldn't actually break out completely from that trend until March of 2016. So these are very long moves that you see in traditional markets, right? And yeah, obviously we saw this back here, but is this what we could be seeing again? Because if we do breach this level, which is sitting at around 44.30, then it could get very ugly for Bitcoin as well. However, the one thing I do want to point out currently is that Bitcoin is still, in fact, in this falling wedge pattern. We have not fallen out of it just yet. You can see we're actually just sitting at the bottom. Now, yes, we did lose this very critical level of 42. However, this pattern has not actually broken out yet. So until we have a clear break of the bottom side or the top side, although it does, in fact, look bearish on the daily, there is nothing, I'm not going to sit here and say it looks great on the daily. We cannot officially say that Bitcoin, has officially broken out of the structure just yet, because it actually technically hasn't, but I will show you that we are very, very close to an important level for Bitcoin, a historically important level for Bitcoin. Now, you can see that we did lose this trend right here. However, we are still sitting inside of this blue zone. Now, will we have a bounce here? Well, I mean, if you actually have a look at what's going on, for example, over here at the RSI, the one thing that I will say for Bitcoin, and this is just something to just notice, is that we are in fact in oversold territory. So you can actually see on the RSI right here, the last time that we actually breached below this sort of 30 level is right back here. This is when we had the massive dump back in May of last year. Now, I just want to point out that just because Bitcoin was oversold, we didn't see a V-shaped recovery. What we actually saw was some consolidation around this levels where we started putting in lower highs, and we did put in this sort of falling or descending triangle, which technically is a bearish pattern, but due to the fact that we were oversold, we did in fact get that bounce. Now, I could see something very similar playing out right now. Obviously, a lot of it depends on what happens in the stocks right now, and I'll get into what is happening right now, but you can see that we are in fact in this oversold territory again. So this doesn't mean that Bitcoin couldn't come down to like 34,000, over time, bounce around, do some sort of consolidation like this before having the move. But I will say that the markets are certainly historically due for a bounce. I mean, we are absolutely due for a bounce. We have had a multi-week downtrend over here on Bitcoin. So will we actually go down to this $35,000 level? Well, as I pointed out to you guys, and I do want to show you again, because maybe, some people, they don't watch the videos, they don't stay to the end, they click off after the intro. I don't know what you guys do when you watch these videos. So I'm going to bring this up again. I want to point out the significance of this hash ribbon indicator. Now, you might be saying, well, no, this has to go out the window because the Fed, they're saying that they're tightening and they're not going to be buying back and they want to lower inflation. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. But I will say that historically speaking, from a technical standpoint, we do have 13 years of data showing these hash ribbon buy indicators. And the thing that I want to point out is not necessarily the fact that this is the perfect time to be buying Bitcoin when you're seeing this, but it does signal that the buying opportunity is getting extremely close to the bottom. Now, every single time in the past that we have had this buy indicator, the thing that I wanted to point out the most is that as soon as we got it, Bitcoin never went down to the previous range low before the indicator. Now, we have years of data, and stick around, I will show you right now on this chart. And I'm not trying to like spread hopium and say, oh, tomorrow we're going to bounce. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that if people are getting bearish at this point, or they're looking to sell at this point, especially if you bought in recently, that's not really a great trading strategy. And if you are panicking right now, like I said, it's most likely because you're either over leveraged or these people who are selling just simply don't believe in the longevity of Bitcoin, or the third being that it's institutions, and this is just what they're doing. They're selling across the board. This is how they react. So getting back to this, you can see right here, January of 2012, we did have the hash ribbon indicator. We had a range low of around 214, right? And you can see right here, the next low that we came down to was 403. We had another one right here. This was around 25. And this was in February of 2013, the range low sitting around 758. The lowest we got after that was down to actually 50. And it's pretty actually incredible, thinking about these realistically. When you think about Bitcoin, $15 is pretty insane. But if we actually move on and look at some of these other buys we have here, right? So we had this buy signal right here in January of 2015. We had the previous range low at around 114. The lowest that we went after that was 173. Okay, do you see what I'm trying to say, guys? So yes, it doesn't mean the bottom is in, but it does show us historically that we are close. We had another buy here. This was around $3,565. The range low was around 3,121, and after that, Bitcoin only came down to about 3,410. And I could go through all of these. There was only one that never worked, and the only one that didn't work was this one right here, just before the COVID crash. But let's be honest, guys, that was a black swan event, and every single market got hit. But continuing after that, we had one right here in July 2020, we had the range low in the COVID crash. Obviously, we had a higher low than that. So that was, COVID, that was crazy. We had another buy right here, November 2020. You could see the range low was sitting at around 9,719. And you can argue that we didn't even come down to a low. We actually went all the way up and came up to $30,000. And we did, in fact, have one again earlier last year in August, which was around the $40,000 level, which shows us that the range low was sitting at around 28,680. So historically speaking, should we go down to $30,000, $28,000 again? No, we should not. Not without a black swan event. And this is not a black swan event. What we are seeing is exactly what we knew was going to happen. We knew that the Fed needed to tighten. They saw the inflation rates. They were propping up the stock markets. They kept printing. And now they're feeling the repercussions of this, right? Who's going to get hurt the most out of it? Well, obviously, the average investor is going to get hurt the most if this does play out. But let's be honest, they cannot raise this. Like 1% is probably the highest that they're going to go. If they start going to 3%, 4%, 5%, they are simply not going to be able to cover that. There is just too much debt, in the space right now. But I do think that we need to pay attention to the S&P because, unfortunately, like I said, we do have a lot of these institutions in crypto as well. and they are going to treat it the same way that they treat anything else. But getting back to this right here, you know, you can see right here we did have the buy, and the range low was 28. So this is why I said in my previous few videos that I actually could see Bitcoin going down to about $35 to $37. Looks like we're kind of in that range right now, but then I do anticipate a rally after that. Now, where could that rally take us? Well, we do have some resistance around 51,000. But like I said, overall, the eyes are in fact on the overall markets right now. A lot of people are just paying attention to what the Fed is doing. I do think they're overreacting. In all honesty, I think it's hilarious because, you know, we're having this FUD come out over the Fed saying that they're going to tighten. We do know that Bitcoin was sort of designed to fight the Fed and to be an inflation hedge and to be your own bank. But nevertheless, guys, fear and greed, unfortunately, does not change over time. But the one thing I do want to point out right here is you could see that we actually finally touched the top of this monthly EMA ribbon. This is a very concerning level, just to be transparent with you about where Bitcoin sits right now, because you could see historically speaking, generally once we touch this band, even just for the first time, we do have a relief rally. We generally do have a rally off of it, but it usually signals the start of something pretty bad for Bitcoin. So the fact that we have touched it, but we haven't fallen into it means that we are actually hanging by a thread right now. And I will be completely honest with you guys. If I do, you know, I mean, look, you can't say we're in a bear market. You cannot say that. People saying that, you know, oh, well, you know, you've been very bullish on Bitcoin. Yes, I have been bullish on Bitcoin because we're still maintaining this higher structure. We've still been putting in higher highs. We've still been putting in higher lows. And not to mention the fact that if we just simply go back to the beginning of the year of 2020, we literally had Bitcoin as low as $6,798 in January. And currently right now, from those levels, even though we have had a 40% pullback, you know, if you just do the math right here, Bitcoin is still up 464%. So you have to zoom out and you have to look at the bigger picture. As I told you in my previous video, there were a lot of people that got into crypto, including the institutions, in just the past year, right? These people are not in it, some of them, I should say, are not in it for the long run. And a lot of people that speculated getting in on this Dogecoin craze, Shiba Inu, and, you know, all these other things that were happening, they did not care about the bigger picture. They wanted to make money fast. You know, we had a little bit of a blow off, right? But then what happened? Now prices are back down, and this is where the true Bitcoin hodlers shine, the people that actually believe in the space. In fact, I bought more Bitcoin this morning, pretty much right around these exact levels that we're sitting at right now. And I had bought Bitcoin at $47,000 live on my video just a few weeks ago. And you might be saying, well, you're down on that. Well, guys, dollar cost averaging has been my strategy for the past 5 years. It works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but historically speaking, even if you had bought the absolute tops of every single Bitcoin pump, you bought, you know, right here, you bought at the top at, you know, $1,200, you bought right here at the top at $20,000. Well, guess what? If you held for 3.5 years, you would do a minimum of a 3.5x. In this case, you did a 20x, and in this case, from top to bottom, you did over a 3x. Okay? So my point is, what is your time horizon? Are you concerned about what's going to be happening in the next few weeks? Are you over leveraged? Have you taken your money that should be going towards groceries and bills and paying off your mortgage and buying Bitcoin? Now, well, I'm not really a great example because I actually did do that back in 2017 and 2018. I actually had my house in foreclosure. I sold my cars. I rode a bicycle for 2 years. A lot of people don't know that about me. But yeah, so I was doing the thing that I say you shouldn't be doing. But of course, I can't suggest you do what I did because what I did was absolutely insane, paid off amazingly. It was the greatest decision of my life. But my point is, what is your risk tolerance? Because we have to pay attention to what is happening moving forward. Now, obviously, a lot of people are waiting for March. They're waiting to see what could happen from the Fed. I personally think that we are trying to price it in right now. I think that's what we're doing. But the biggest problem is, if we actually have a look at what was going on with the S&P, what is going on with the S&P is that essentially, if I put this chart back on, you know, you could see that ever since the COVID crash, they were just inflating and pumping prices into the market. You could see we came all the way up here. We stayed at the top of this level right here. Every time we started to take a dip, they bailed it out. They printed more money. And what's happening right now is they're saying we cannot do this anymore. So this is something that has been held up artificially, you know, due to this inflation, due to this money printing. And, you know, this is something that I don't really know how you guys are going to take this on the channel. But at the end of the day, What really needs to happen, what truly needs to happen, is they actually just need to let the markets do what they're going to do naturally, which unfortunately would probably end in a major flush out for traditional stocks, seeing a 20%, 30% correction. But this would actually be healthy. And though it would hurt me short term, it would hurt my portfolio short term, of course, long term, they need to do this, because what's going to happen? Stocks are going to start falling, and then what are they going to do? Reverse their policies and just print more money and then prop up stocks again and just change everything? How long can they do this for? Well, they've been doing it for quite a long time, to be completely honest with you. So you have to take anything that the Fed says with a grain of salt. But keep in mind, any time that we've ever had any FUD in the past 13 years history for Bitcoin, whether it be China FUD, South Korea FUD, Fed FUD, Russia FUD, any FUD, Bitcoin has always bounced back. In fact, that is one of the stories that's happening right now, is that you're actually seeing that Russia's central bank has proposed a blanket ban on the use of mining in cryptocurrencies. According to a 5-page report, the bank cited various issues warranting the ban, including environmental concerns, well-being of residents, and the threat of the financial instability. So it honestly goes on to just talk about more. They even mention actually the prohibition of the issuance of circulation of cryptocurrencies for any purpose. So not only are we having a terrible day in stocks, it is a Friday, which makes it even worse, right? Although I do think whatever happens today, I think we're going to have the opposite on Monday, just to point that out. So like if we do close on a really deep candle today, I think that Monday we're going to have a big green candle. If this happens to randomly close green by the end of the day, then I think we're going to have a red candle on Monday. So long story short, whatever happens at the end of this weekend, I think come Monday, we're going to see the opposite, but it may just be short-lived. So we obviously did have that FUD coming out of Russia, but the thing that I want to point out too is we have been saying on this channel for quite a long time that an M-shaped pattern would be possible. Now, if we did this, this would bring us down to the exact level of the previous low, which would be right around that $30,000, and it could even wick down to $28,000. And I have pointed this out, and some people might be saying, well, this is a double top. I don't 100% believe necessarily that this is a double top. Obviously, we do have to see what is happening clearly globally. But, the idea of coming down here and having an M-shaped pattern is something that I pointed out that happened in the S&P between April of 1997, actually. April of 1997 and March of 2009. This was a very, very long move. Obviously, things move a lot quicker in crypto, but look at this. You can see right here, we had the first top, we had the second top, we came down here, we had this massive capitulation event where everybody thought it was over, stocks are dead, and we had that V-shaped recovery. Going back to Bitcoin, you could see something like that where we have that fake out down here, even down to 27, 28, and then do continue upward. So those are the two bearish case scenarios, right? Bearish number one being that we only go down to around 35, 37 based on the hash ribbon indicator, or if for the first time ever we do exactly touch the bottom level, then you do have a $30,000 Bitcoin, and you probably have the greatest Bitcoin buying opportunity of a lifetime. So it really depends on how you feel about crypto. Personally, for me, I bought more again this morning, and I do still have some dry powder available if we go down to these levels, and I will buy. And you know what? If we go lower, guys, then, well, I don't really care, because I've been holding for over 5 years, and every single time it has paid off. Why would it be any different this time? Everybody's, oh, this time is different. Then, oh, the Fed and this and that. No, guys, it's not different. It's not different. It's just another narrative. It's another story. It's another FUD article. They're going to do this. They're going to inflate. They're going to not inflate. China's banning. Russia's banning. It doesn't matter, guys. If you look at this chart long term, logarithmically, you can clearly see that Bitcoin continues to go up and to the right forever. Look at this chart, guys. Why would it stop today? Why would it stop today? Just because you're scared, because we're going through it now, because it's happening live, and maybe you might be experiencing this for the first time? This is all part of market cycles. I believe in the market lengthening 100%. It is going to be difficult times. For example, if we come back here to the to this chart, even though we are sitting at the bottom and we have fallen below this, we still do have over a week left for this, for this month. And I did say, if this candle can possibly, I don't know if it will, but if it can, we only have to go up 13% from here. Bitcoin can do that overnight. And if Bitcoin can just pump 13% back to $43,000 and close the daily candle, then the structure's not broken. And then everybody just freaked out and panic sold for absolutely no reason, right? So at the end of the day, guys, really the point that I'm trying to make is that Bitcoin is truly the world's greatest money. And if you don't believe in that, then I don't know really why you're watching this channel, because while you can trade it, most traders lose money, by the way. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a sale, a fire sale on Bitcoin, you're getting it right now. Could it go lower? Absolutely. But most people who attempt to time the bottom usually miss out. They never get the price they're looking for. And the same thing goes for the top. But I do want to just leave on this tweet from James Lavish, because I know in my previous video, I said that I could see Bitcoin going to $1 million in our lifetime. Well, that doesn't seem very likely today. Lots of people are bearish, massive bearish sentiment. You know what? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. And there's a lot of fear happening right now. So just check this out. Simple math. Bitcoin will eventually be worth over $1 million per coin. How? Well, there's currently 700 trillion of global investment assets. Bonds, 137, stocks, 117, real estate, 290, arts and collectibles, 22, gold, 10, and the M2 money supply, 130 trillion. Now, he made this obviously when Bitcoin was sitting at around 42K. The Bitcoin market value was about 900 billion. It's a little bit lower today, which puts it at about 0.13% of global assets. As individuals and asset managers learn about and gain comfort in Bitcoin, this number grows. And you can see right here, simple math, 1% of this would be $7 trillion. That would put Bitcoin at around 337,000. 2% would be $14,667,000 per Bitcoin. And just simply 3%, guys, just 3%. puts Bitcoin at a $1 million not $1 million market cap, $1 million per coin. So these numbers are incredibly attainable. And I don't know, man, for people who think that this is the end and it's all over, I feel really bad. I understand if you bought in recently, it can definitely suck. But guys, at the end of the day, I mean, what is your risk tolerance? Are you over leveraged? Do you believe in it? And, were you just buying things because people were talking about it, or were you buying it because you truly believed in it? Because for me, there is no doubt in my mind what Bitcoin is going to do in our lifetime. So for me, I continue to buy these dips. I continue to, accumulate as much Bitcoin as I can. And so far, like I said, for the past 5+ years, it's been working for me. But essentially, guys, at the end of the day, yes, things are looking a little bit scary for Bitcoin. They're looking a little bit scary for the market, for the stock market as well. I mean, this is crazy, guys. This is absolutely crazy what we're seeing right now. And it's definitely an interesting time that we're living through, and it's going to be something to tell your kids and grandkids about, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, you definitely don't be the one that was caught on the wrong side. And I think the wrong side is fiat. Personally, I think whatever happens over the next few months, probably going to spook a lot of investors. I'm not going anywhere. If you guys want to know how to trade in a true bear market, if we are in a bear market, I will continue to offer those opportunities. Obviously, you want to trade the resistance on the way down. But that being said, I do think because we are so oversold right now, we are sitting below on some very critical levels. I do anticipate a bounce. I don't know if it'll be coming this weekend. It might be coming next week. But at the end of the day, guys, Bitcoin is essentially where I place my bets. And I either go down with the ship, which I don't think is likely, or, we turn out to be the smartest people during these terrible, horrible times. So let me know what you're doing below in the description. Are you just completely discouraged? Are you just in a terrible place? Because look, if you are in that place, I want you to know that things do get better. They've always gotten better. This isn't the first time that I've broken open the charts and saw something like this on this channel. We sat through multiple bear markets. We sat through a full-on bear market in 2018 and a mini bear market after the 14,000 mid-market top. And you know what happened? Bitcoin went to $69,000 just a year and a half later. So guys, be patient. Understand that markets move in cycles. Understand that nothing is permanent. Understand that tough times never last. Only tough people last. You guys know the meme, right? So remember that this is just part of market cycles. As you can tell by my demeanor, I am not panicking. Of course, guys, I don't like seeing my portfolio where it is today. It was much, much better looking a few months ago. But that being said, the amount of Bitcoin in my wallet has not changed. In fact, it has increased. I have more Bitcoin today than I did yesterday, because I bought some this morning. So that is what you have to look at. And if you believe in Bitcoin, if you believe in the underlying assets, then really you look at opportunities like this as buying opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically it for me today. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a ramble kind of video. I didn't really think any like news fundamentals were really worth going over today. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I just want to let you know, wherever you are, I freaking love you. You're awesome. Remember how early we are to the space. Just having just having a look at this right here, you can obviously see that, we're sitting at 0.13% of global assets. Very, very small. We are very, very early. Not a lot of the world has exposure to crypto, despite how much you may think that because of all the time that you've spent in crypto recently. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I love you. You are awesome. Have a wonderful and beautiful start to your weekend. Go outside, take a deep breath, put the phone down, stop checking the portfolio, or like I've been doing, dollar cost average, not financial advice, because once this is over, and it always ends, these tough times always end, I'll tell you what, you will be sitting very pretty if you took this opportunity to accumulate at these fire sales. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. If you haven't checked out these videos popping up right here, right now, check them out. And until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.